Whenever the name Buddha is mentioned, one immediately gets ideas of the enlightened one, the great man who became the Buddha, teaching the path to nirvana and the ultimate truth. Subconsciously, we attach the deed to the name and let the accomplishment and the label define the individual. For example, when I say the name William Wordsworth, the first idea that would come to one's mind is poet. Then perchance the foggy notions of European or English and romantic writer would filter in. But would the idea of philosopher ever arise? It takes just a little more than a superficial reading to glean the deeper metaphysical message that Wordsworth interlaced his poetry with. Whether it was because he was never formally deemed a philosopher, or whether it was that the critics of his time didn't accept his new ideas, Wordsworth is often not recognized for his insights on life and the ancient wisdom of his words. William Wordsworth was born in the year 1770 in England, the third of 5 children. The early part of his life is marked by separation, loneliness, and uncertainty. He was 8 years old when his mother died. His father, unable and apathetic about caring for his 5 children, sent Wordsworth to grammar school, and he was only there for 3 years before his father then passed away as well. The losses in his life were very many. In 1805, his brother John died. He watched 3 of his children die, and his close friend Robert Southey died. He never had a chance to put down roots until 1813, when he moved to Riddell Mountain, England, where he remained until his death and was finally in a position of decent financial stability. The deaths in the beginning years of Wordsworth's life troubled him deeply and were obvious influences in his future poetry. Quote, although many aspects of his boyhood were positive, he recalled bouts of loneliness and anxiety, and it took him many years and much writing to recover from the death of his parents and his separation from his siblings, unquote. It appears most obviously to me that Wordsworth's writings developed an inherent Buddhist trend in large part due to the tragic circumstances of his youth. Those trying years gave rise to the major themes of his writing: death, loss, separation, and abandonment. These themes are closely connected to the central Buddhist beliefs concerning detachment and non-possession, in that the experience of one leads to the release from the other. For example, by feeling the stress of loss, a person has a chance to realize that the pain could be removed by not having attachment. Thus, one sees that attachment is a source of instability, and by maintaining detachment, one maintains a state of greater peace. It seems almost logical, or at least it follows suit, that Wordsworth evolved Buddhist trends in his writing. His formative years were filled with stressful events that demanded deep consideration of life and his reality. It could be said that all of his experiences served as stark examples of the ephemeral nature of life, of the transience of people, and how they were utterly inconsequential relative to the physical world. The crux of the situation is that he saw and realized that these examples pointed to a higher order of the world, and that realization is evident in his later poems that will be considered presently. I would like to draw a connection here to Siddhartha Gautama's own story. Though Siddhartha was brought up in the palace life, he was first moved to pursue a more pure way of life after he saw an old man, a dead man, and a sick man outside his palace in the city. This was Siddhartha's nudge to realize the impermanence of life and how petty were the pleasures of this physical world. Siddhartha already had the influences of Indian religion and philosophy around him. Wordsworth did not